Hello students, how are you all? Good? Yeah. So now let's get started. Today is a video specifically for all of you who asked me how to score good marks in GST, how to not have the fear of failure in GST. Yes, it's very easy if we follow certain tips. This video is specifically for you. So how to score good marks in GST, at least 50 plus. Okay, so let's get started. So now I'll be giving you a few tips first, and then I'll talk about the topics that are required to be focused. The topics that needs a little bit of less focus also we will discuss. The topics that can be finished in a short duration, because we have multiple subjects and the time might not be sufficient, so we'll discuss everything as to how to plan. So let's be patient and listen to every bit of what we are going to discuss in today's class. Now, the first one is, many students ask me, ma'am, GST when we are studying, can I study one more subject? Of course, you can study one more subject. Ideally, you can do one or two. One is best. So GST with one more subject. That is how you can plan. So how will you plan? So basically, if you are able to give, like, say for example, 8 hours in a day apart from classes, so you should plan for 4 hours for this subject, GST, and 4 hours for the other subject. So now, the 4 hours every day, what are you going to study? So every day I want you to write down. So say for example 20th February, what you're going to study. 21st February, what you're going to study. Make a realistic plan. Don't be too lenient also. Don't be very strict on yourself also. And leave 2-3 days just simply without doing anything, because in case you fall sick also, you'll be able to catch up with that particular date or any inevitable circumstance. So 2-3 days will be a grace days kind of thing. That is what your plan should look like, and your plan should also have revision. Okay, so now the second thing that I want to talk to you about is practice writing. Many students are actually very good in answering in the class and they give me the correct answers, but when it comes to exam, they get scared. Why? Because they read the question and they see the solution and do a tick mark like this. No, this is not what I want you to do. I want you to practice writing with amounts, with explanations, just like how we do in our test, right? So yeah, so that it's like really as if you're giving the exam. Every time you write, think you are actually in the exam hall, so that you are having the feeling of actually practicing it. All right, so you will not read, you will write and practice. All right, be it theory or practical questions. All right. Then the third one is, your source is not going to be multiple books. It's not about how many books you read. It's about how well you are good with one particular book. So you can use our material as the base or CA Institute material as the base, and the supplement for practice will be, of course, your suggested answers, past exam questions, and then your RTPs, your mock test papers. So for CMA students, it will be your model test papers and your suggested answers. So this would be the supplement. You have to practice from these. All right. So, and apart from that, of course, our test series also, I'd be talking about that as well. So stay tuned. Next is going to be, what is your priority when it comes to the topics? What will be your priority? I would say ITC should be your priority. Time and again they have asked this, and multiple students towards the end of the attempt, they would come and ask me, ma'am, I have not studied ITC. No, that's something that you're taking a very big risk of. I would definitely not recommend that. As a teacher, of course, I would say you should not, leave out any topic, but leaving out ITC is not a good idea. So ITC should be in your first priority, means you should know it really well, okay, in depth of it. And next should be registration. You should know, you should be very good with registration and value of supply. So you all know value of supply. And again, here also students answer to the questions really well. And multiple students who tell me, actually in my previous attempt, I had studied value of supply really well, but I couldn't clear. So I joined here, because here only actually we are doing the problems. Value of supply, of course you have to do the problems. So here only we are doing the problems. So now I understood it very clearly. Like that, about 3-4 children have come and told me. So yes, so value of supply, it's not only about, of course you should read first and then practice the questions. When I say practice, you have to write and practice. Alright. So these 3 must be your priority. And the next, how can you cover the portions in a small span of time? Means it's about, you are covering multiple chapters but in a short span of time. There are many small chapters, so you can cover them and you will feel like you have covered a good amount of GST portions, but it is actually small topics. So please don't start with exemptions. It will be never ending, so please don't do that. So what you will do is, you will start of course with this chapter supply, then you will do charge. Then what you can do is time of supply. Here also I will highly recommend you to solve the problems as and when you are doing the time of supply. We have the chapter wise questions, test series. Please go through them. The chapter wise questions will be very helpful for practice just after you read every particular chapter. And then you have place of supply, that also you must solve. Again, when we are doing in class, multiple students are understanding it really well. If you lack in practice, you will not be able to do it. So then next is tax invoice, accounts and records, payment of tax, e-way bill, TDS, TCS, tax invoice, debit note, credit note, then returns. So all this will not take huge time. Okay, so first, if you feel you are running short of time, if you feel you not having much time, of course ITC is our priority, value of supply is our priority, registration is our priority. But if you want to finish a good chunk of portions, it is always a good idea to finish all these topics which are not very huge, and then you can come back to ITC. And it is always a good idea to do ITC at the end, because you need concepts from multiple chapters for that particular chapter. So yes, so this could be your strategy. So you can do all these small topics. And then what about exemptions? It's never ending, ma'am. That's what students tell me. Yes, of course, I admit it's quite big. So what you can do is, you can study exemptions every day for about half an hour or 1 hour. You can accordingly plan so that it's not overwhelming, it's not overburdened for you. So please look into that aspect. Every day a little bit. Some students are studying exemptions first and then they are getting too overwhelmed. It's because it's not getting over also. They have a huge amount of portions which is left out also. They have not covered ITC also, and they choose to leave it in choice. First of all, that is a very bad thing to do. So don't do that. So I think this will help you plan your preparation. And when I say plan, so it's, if you have to have a very good plan. Okay. Failing to plan is planning to fail. I'm not being pessimistic. It's the reality of professional courses, whether it is CA or CMA or CS. You have to be planning. You have to have a solid plan, as I told you, every day, every week, every month. What is your plan? That is how I want it to be. And along with some grace days, in case you are not well and all that. So now, how would you plan? So basically, when you have a solid plan, you will take up test also. So we have this, what is called as module wise test. Okay. So we have broken down the portions into multiple modules, and you can take the module wise test, full-fledged test also you can take up, and chapter wise test also you can take up. So the test series would be really helpful here, where you are able to prepare according to the schedule of the test. Okay, so you can choose the schedule also. So accordingly, you will plan your timetable. So you will plan for, say for example, first module, you want 1 week's time, say for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, one more day. You need 5 days, you are adding one more day, and the 7th day you are writing the test. That is how your plan should look like, so that your plan is in action also. Okay, so this is about it. Then the next is multiple students come back and tell me, ma'am, we have DT and IDT and it's too much. Yes, I understand, I hear you. I'm very much, know that the portions are huge. So what we can do is, we should have the day before the exam strategy. That means you should clearly know what you will study the day before the exam. So what I used to do as a student is, every topic I used to consolidate, or every chapter or every unit, I used to consolidate into 1-page revision. I will be able to understand my notes like that. In 1 page, I should be able to accommodate my entire chapter. Okay, so like that, if you are able to do, the day before the exam, you can actually go through that particular page. Okay, so you should not go through that, you should not make those notes day before the exam. It should be already ready 1 month before, and you should be very familiar with such notes. And then from the test that you are writing, choose 3 to 4 problems. Okay, or from your past exam questions also, when you feel, oh, this is a very different problem, that kind of feeling when you get, you choose that problem and keep. You can you bookmark that problem and keep. So those 3 to 4 problems per chapter, I want you to go through. Problems or questions or whatever, I want you to go through. So this is how your day before the exam strategy will be. So you will have a topic wise, every chapter end you will have a 1-page summary and 3 to 4 questions from every topic which you find it to be important. You are the people who are going to judge in the course of preparation. Okay, so same thing you can follow for DT also. So now here we go with, many students came and told me, like, day before the exam you asked me to make a 1-page summary, ma'am. Can you just help me as to how that 1-page summary should look like? So I'll give you a small example of the supply chapter as to how you can consolidate into one particular page. We are not going to discuss the entire chapter, of course, because it's already done. So we're going to, like, just, a small gist of how we are going to do it. So now, supply. What is this supply? We all know that only when there is a supply, it will be charged under GST. Fine. So let's discuss the section 7 subsection 1A of the CGST Act 2017. So what is it telling? What is a supply? So for something to be a supply, the 3 conditions have to be followed. What is it? So we have learnt this, that is, big elephants sing together plus lazy lions dance randomly. This is the short form that we use for learning this, because in multiple places and multiple questions, when we have solved past exam questions, we have seen that multiple words have been used. So we should know all of them. How to know that? BESTLLDR. All right. What is it? B stands for barter, E stands for exchange, S stands for sale, T stands for transfer, and then L stands for lease and licensing, and R stands for rent, D stands for disposal. So this is what we need to understand. In multiple questions, multiple words have been used. So what is it that is being said in the act? They are not talking about big elephants sing together plus lazy lions dance randomly, but it is just for our understanding. Either it is barter, exchange, sale, transfer, lease, licensing, rent, or disposal. It is going to be classified as, yes, a supply. Yes. So all this is nothing but supply. And the second condition has to be, it should be for a consideration. For a consideration. Okay, dollar or rupees. So there should be an amount involved. Okay, free service or free exchange is not what we consider. All right. And then there should be furtherance of business. It should be further used for business purpose. Obviously, when we are using it for final consumption, we are not filing any GST returns, okay? We are not paying the GST to the government exactly, okay? Means we will pay the bill price to the shopkeeper, right? So there is no furtherance of business when we do it for personal consumption. So furtherance of business means other than personal consumption, fine. So this is the gist of it, isn't it? So then what is it? In case of, so this you will write it as a very small thing, because now either you will remember big elephants sing together plus lazy lions dance randomly either in your mind, or you will write it in your notebook. So you can make it small. For a consideration, furtherance of business, okay, one section in a very small manner. And then you can also talk about the import of service. If it is with consideration, you all know that it is a supply, whether or not there is furtherance. So if it is for a consideration, import of service, if it is with consideration, it is a supply. It qualifies as a supply, whether or not there is furtherance of business. We are not checking the third condition at all. Third condition is furtherance of business. So if it is with the consideration, in case of import of service, it will qualify as supply, whether or not there is furtherance of business. And if it is without a consideration, then if it is for related party or distinct persons, and in other cases, these two we have discussed. I hope all of you remember that. So this is going to be a supply and this is not a supply. So since we have already studied, this quick notes we can make, and apart from that all other points that we have discussed with respect to supply, so all those small points also you can make in your notebook. So it should fit into one page, so that the day before the exam you're not studying the entire chapter, you're studying only that particular page. So you can use mnemonics, you can use mind maps, whatever is easy for you. Make your notes as interesting as possible, and choose the problems that you want to do from the test for the day before the exam revision. All right. So those questions you can ideally do, the day before the exam, along with reading every chapter. So all the very best. I hope these tips help you, and I hope you have a wonderful preparation. Enjoy the process and trust the process. Bye.